Hi everyone. We'll just give it a couple more minutes, see if we can get a few more attendees coming up, and then I'll get started. Well, I think we should get started. So, first of all, welcome everyone to this webinar of Conquering Conditional Formatting. Before we get into it, quick introduction. You probably remember me from a previous webinar. I'm Milo, I'm part of the support team, and I'm going to be showing you conditional formatting within your reports. As you probably already know, we have our series of webinars on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. every other week. On the screen, you can see how we're progressing through our program so far. And it's always good to remember that we do also offer a 2-day training course on reporting, where we do go over a lot of the topics that we cover in these webinars more in depth. And if you do want more information about these courses, please reach out to your account manager and they can go through everything. So let's get started. So for today, we're going to go through how you can make a report, convey the information you want, and also make it eye-catching. And this is going to be done through within your report using fixed values and also using calculated conditional styling that would use a formula. Now, and after that, there will be time for some questions. Now, we've all seen reports that are just figures and values where you need to work out what the key points are and if they're positive or negative. On the screen is a report showing how much each customer has spent last year. While you can see the information you want, it's not immediate to see who the big spenders are. Well, if we add some conditional formatting based on fixed values, we can transform a report to look something like this. Now, I'm sure you will agree this is a lot more eye-catching and indicates key points from the moment you look into it. Formatting on fixed values allows you to divide the output into 3 sections or buckets. In the example on the screen, I've set it so that the red are values under £2,000, the green is anything over £15,000, and anything in between is shown as amber. While I have used the red, amber, green or rag coloring, you can choose different coloring when you're adding the styling. As this approach uses values, it can only be used on numbers. Now, another way to add conditional styling is to base it on a calculated column, which would use a formula. This allows you to introduce more thresholds rather than the 3 that you have when using a fixed value. And it means that you can turn a report that looks from this into something that looks like this. This approach allows you to base formatting based on text values. And as I said, it uses a formula which provides the instructions for the styling. The formula must be written in a way that generates valid CSS or cascading style sheet code. While I've not gone over building a formula, which we will be covering in one of our future webinars, I wanted to show you an example of one that can be used for this calculated conditional styling. Now, on the screen, you can see the formula, and you may be a little bit confused, but the way that this works is the top row looks at a field on an organization called customer health. The second row says that if the value in that field is red, then put the background as red and the text as white. Next, it says if the field says amber, to use a background color of gold with a text of black, and so forth, to where you get else, which means that if none of the above apply, put a white background and black text. Now, let me jump into Workbooks so I can show you how to add styling to a report. So let me just jump in there. Apologies for this, trying to find the right one. So here we go. I've created a pre-populated report based on customer orders. And I've also added a couple of criteria to this report so that I'm only showing closed UK orders from this year. Let's say that my manager has asked me to show a total billings for each customer where she would like to see the amounts under £2,000 in red and amounts over 150,000 in green, and anything else can be shown in amber. To show this, first thing I'd need to do is to create a summary view. And I'm just going to quickly give this a title, as we know we should do. And now that I've got my summary view, first thing I'm going to do is add a grouping column where I'm going to group by customer. And next, I'm going to add a subtotal column that looks at the net home currency. Now, when I load my preview for this report, it does appear a bit bland. So in order to add some style and flair, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the column of net home currency, and I'm going to go to the Style tab. You may remember in a previous webinar, I had said that in this Style tab, this is where you can turn a column where everything is in bold, in italics or underline. You can change the alignment, and you can also change the text or background color. Now, when you make the change here, any change that you make will apply to the whole column. But that's not what I'm wanting to do on this one. I'm wanting to actually use this section down below, which is called Cell Conditional Styles, and I'm going to select Conditional Styling on Values. I now have some more options that have appeared. And first thing I'd like to do is to add my thresholds. Now, as I said, for the high threshold, I've been asked for values over 150,000. And as you know, that now that I've checked, if you see, now that I've changed that, we actually start to get the information to change here. When I add my low threshold of £2,000 and click out of it, the values have changed once again. Now, in each of these sections or buckets, I also get the choice to state what color I'd want the text and what color I'd want the background. As a default, it automatically goes to the RAG approach. So everything that's in the low band would be in red, everything in the high band would be green. But this is where you can change the colors, and there is a large selection of colors here. Um, so with my threshold set, I'm going to save and close this, and I'm going to run my report. So as you can see, we now have a list of customers and the total values are colored to match what I was asked for. Let's have a look at the calculated conditional styling. The Customer Success Manager has asked me to show a report showing the customer health for each organization. Now, if I go into an organization, you can see here that I've got a field called Customer Health Status, and it's a pick list with multiple values. What they would like me to do is to format it so that both the customer name and the customer health status have a background that match the options within the pick list. So to do this, I'm going to create a quick report, and this report is going to be based on organizations. So let me add my title. And I would always suggest that when you do create your report, you do add the description. For time, I'm not going to. And within this report, just for ease, I'm going to add I'm just going to add two columns. I'm going to put the name, and I'm going to show the customer health. So when I preview this, we've now got a list of all of our organizations. As I've mentioned, I need to add a calculated column for the styling. So the formula that I'm actually going to be using is the same, is similar to the one that I'd shown you earlier. And for ease, I'm just going to copy and paste that formula in here. So let me just do that. And I was going to say, you can name this styling column whatever you'd like. I generally prefer to just give it a title of styling so that you know what it is doing. So I'm going to save this. Apologies, I've got a small hiccup and I will just correct this quickly. Now, when I refresh my preview, you'll see that we've now got a new column here, which is called the styling. And I've got that information, but now I need to get my other columns to look at this so that they know what to add for the styling. And to do this, first I'm going to click on my column of customer health status and go to the style tab. In the last example, I had shown you conditional styling based on values. For this one, we need to choose calculated conditional styling. When I select this, it's asking me to add my styling column. So I'll just select that one. And then I'm going to save and close this. And I'm going to do the same for the name column. So again, click on name, go to styling and change that to calculated conditional styling and add my column in there. And when I hit preview, you can see that that styling has now been added to all of the columns. But if I was going to share this report with someone, I would not want them to be able to see the styling column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply hide my styling column and save my report. And when I hit preview again, you can see that that styling column is no longer showing. One thing to remember is don't don't try to delete the column that you're using for the styling. When you do this, the styling wouldn't know what column to look at. Though I will say, if you did try to delete it, you'll be asked, do you want to delete it? And you'll then get a message saying it can't be deleted because it's being used for styling for other columns. It's also good to know that you can have multiple styling columns within a report. So you can have different columns using different styling. Though I will say, if you add too much, that your report becomes very loud and an eyesore. So let's recap everything that we've done. So simple styling can be applied to a whole column. Conditional styling based on values is based on numerical values, has two thresholds, and can have a maximum of 3 colors. Calculated conditional styling can be based on numbers and text. There is no limit on the number of thresholds or colors that you can be used, and it can be applied to multiple columns. Okay, so let's see if we've got any questions. And it appears that we don't have any questions. Well, if we don't have any questions, then um, all I will say is then thank you for attending this webinar. Our next webinar will be sharing reports, showing how you can share your reports with others, and that'll be on the 23rd of April at 4 p.m. UK time. In the meantime, if you do need any help, you can always check out our knowledge base. And if you are an authorized support contact, you can always reach out to support either by email, by phone, or using the case portal. Alternatively, you can contact your account manager. Well, thank you for attending for today, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.